Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. The dev server is currently going on for update line of contact, and as always when it comes to dev servers, there is stuff which is hidden in the files or being moved around, and we've had a look at some of them, such as the scimitars earlier, and also some of the new missiles. There's even some other ones which are sat in the files which aren't viewable, stuff like the PL-15 for example, for the Chinese, which might be kind of crazy. But what I want to do in this video is focus on a post from Zabi, and he talks about something which hasn't happened for a few years when it comes to War Thunder, basically since 2021. It looks like Gajin might have accidentally added a bunch of stuff to the dev server regarding new vehicles. This could easily be one of the biggest leaks in War Thunder's history, with a metric ton of vehicles being leaked, including old ones and also new ones. There is approximately 30 to 40 different vehicles here, and what we'll do over probably the next few weeks is do individual videos looking at all of these different things, because obviously I can't go through them all in one setup. So what we're going to do in this video is talk about how could something like this happen, and also talk about some of the vehicles that are there. You may remember stuff like the T-90A for America, which was leaked quite a while ago. Well, that is one of those vehicles which is in here. There's also stuff like the Stug 4, for example, the Object 430, and even stuff like the T-80B VM 2023. And the reason why these are all here, they're not there in physical form, they're not here in a massive way, but this is what Zabi has said. Gajin has accidentally added some files containing test assets to the dev files. Think like the 2021 2.7.0.55 CDK oopsie, just with DMs and also weapon files instead of models, and on a similar scale. The vast majority of assets do indeed reach back to at least that 2021 incident, or were otherwise seen before, so there's not really much point to go through them, such as the ones that I just talked about. But there are some new ones that have also turned up as well. And when it comes to what else Zabi says, he says, "I'd like to reiterate that we can't determine their age. They could have been sitting there for over a decade for all we know, and that these very well could just be remnants of discarded ideas or unsatisfactory internal testing, and perhaps aren't intended to ever be released." Now obviously when it comes to all the leaks nowadays, all the guys who do it, they put disclaimers on them because, well, they don't want to cease and desist on their door, so none of them are leaks anymore, they're just guesstimations. I'm just calling them leaks because that's what generally the definition is. I've always been very true when it comes to these things, that some of them will come out, some of them won't, and it's impossible to actually work out what is going to happen and what is not. So it's just one of those which is just kind of up in the air, and it's kind of interesting to see all of the leakers actually do that too now, which is something they should have been doing from the beginning. So when it comes to the new vehicles that have turned up, a lot of them are naval vehicles, surprisingly, but there's also a bunch of missiles and a ground vehicle and an aircraft. The aircraft is the Humu, which is the Finnish aircraft, I believe. This is the one which is based on the Buffalo that is from America. The Finnish Air Force acquired 44 B-239s, which I believe we already have in the game, and then basically what the Humu is a re-engined version of it with the Shvedstov M63 in it. So it has 1,000 horsepower in it, and also has two 12.7mm instead of the standard guns that the Buffalo gets, because they are of Finnish descent. So overall, I think it's kind of cool that they're actually doing this stuff. Then you have a ground vehicle, which is the Boxer CRV Block 2 for Australia. This is another 8-wheeled massive contraption. If you don't know what the Boxer is, it's very similar to what we've seen of many other vehicles. It's just another kind of Patria-esque design with different turrets and also different setups. So think 8-wheeled massive box with different uses, right? That's basically what this thing is. And you have a bunch of different variants. We even have one of them in the game right now. When it comes to the German tech tree, you have the actual Boxer, which has kind of turned up, and then also the Vilkas. But now it looks like there might be another version of the Boxer coming in for Britain from Australia, the CRV Block 2. Naval vehicles, there's an absolute metric ton of them, and what I'll do is I'll just list them here. For America, you have the England, the Helm, and the Worcester. For Germany, the Admiral Scheer, the Blucher, the KM1, and the Lutzlow. For Russia, you have the G6, the Likhoy, the Provorny, the Sotsnatelny, and also the TK1003. Japan is the Kagero, the PT number 5, and also number 9. For Italy, the Bari, the Indomito, and also the Nicoloso de Recco. For France, the Commandant du Boc, Elan, Cursan, and also Volta. So you can see that there's a lot of them in here. And just remember, this isn't all of the vehicles which were actually there. There was many other ones too, including many ground vehicles and many air ones, including stuff like the Honi 2, the VT4, which was there for Thailand. So maybe that may be coming in the future, which, you know, it would be nice to see. And also you have the ZBD 03 for the Chinese, and things like the Magak 7A. There was also some missiles that were leaked. You have, for America, the AGM-114L, which I know a lot of people have been looking forward to for a long time. You also have the AIM-4A and also AIM-4C, which would be nice to see. We do have some AIM-4s nowadays in the game, in the form of the F-106, and also technically some of the more updated versions of them, stuff like the Swiss Mirage has them. I think that's a variant of the AIM-26, which is a development of the AIM-4, and then the AIM-120D, of course, which would be the next iteration of the AMRAAM series. For USSR, we have the KH-55 and also the RS-2U, both of these obviously being pretty wild, especially the KH-55 being an air-launched cruise missile, which has a range of up to, if I remember correctly, 2,000 or 3,000 kilometers. So I don't really understand how that would work in the game. So you can see that there's a bunch of new stuff in the files, plus there was a bunch of old stuff which turned up too. And what I'll do is I'll do a series of videos when I have time after the dev server, just kind of going through each of the nations and what was kind of found in the files. Now just remember, this doesn't mean any of this stuff is coming out. At the end of the day, Gajin tests a ton of stuff. They test a ridiculous amount of things in the background that we may never know about, because either they didn't like it, or maybe they're saving it for the future. Think about when it comes to the infantry stuff, right? That stuff must have been in development for a pretty long time. It isn't something that is just a flash in the pan thing. When you think about Enlisted, when you think about Active Matter, and when you think about the way that Gajin works. They've actually put out videos before from even their HR department talking about the fact that the way that Gajin works is you have all of these small independent teams that work together on collaborative projects. And a lot of the Gajin products actually have a lot of cross-contamination between them. So to see all of these being put into the game files, and then also stuff such as what's in War Thunder Mobile, and also other games under the Gajin umbrella, it means that there's always stuff going on with War Thunder, whether it be something that's going to come out, or being tested, or even, you know, looked at for future purposes. The main thing to take from this is there is ridiculous amounts of content that are available for Gajin. And there is when people talk about the idea of, you know, running out of vehicles in the game, it's never really going to happen for the game. The question is, will people lose interest in playing the same stuff over and over again? And that is always the key part, and that is the bit that they still have to solve. It looks like with the infantry stuff, they're trying to reinvigorate parts of the player base, but also get a bunch of other people involved in it. I mean, right now, we literally have 208,000 people online playing the game on this Saturday. Absolutely crazy at the end of the day. Join us on stream today on Twitch or the second channel. We are going to be going through a lot of the dev server stuff and also doing the events. It's always a pleasure doing these videos. Thank you for watching them. Thank you for discussing and also leaving comments. It's always nice reading them, and I do enjoy going through the community feedback. Look after yourselves. Peace be with you. Have a wonderful day. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.